Welcome to the Simplify Your Retirement Podcast with Steven Strickland. Hello, Steven.
Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Going very well, very well. Excited to be here again today. I got a great podcast ahead. I was thinking the other day about how when we talk to people about retirement, a lot of times we ask, what do you want? What does retirement look like to you?
Right.
Some of the common things that we get are like, I want to travel.
Yeah. Right.
And that's great.
Yeah.
It's great. People want to travel. Why? Because a lot of times they're working, they do all that throughout all the years. They feel like they can't do the travel they want to do, and now they want to travel. But are they going to travel 365 days a year for all of their retirement?
Yeah.
No, they're not. Right. So it's the same thing when we talk about financial planning. A lot of these topics we talk about might fit into putting a plan together and all of that. But there's a whole lot to retirement that's beyond just financial.
Yeah.
And there's the living and there's the aging and there's all the stuff that happens. And so, as we guide people on this path to make work optional, right? So that they're free to give, serve, and enjoy life like never before, we want to be able to help walk through as an education-based financial planning firm, be able to walk through what are some of the things that come up during the day in and day out of retirement?
Absolutely. We talk to our clients all the time about how you may spend 30 years saving for retirement to be able to have a living for 30 years in retirement.
Yep.
People are living a long time in retirement, but you're right. I think most people are kind of still short-sighted. When we retire, maybe in our 60s, we're still healthy. We're still relatively young. We're thinking about all the things that we can do now. And basically the mindset is we're always going to be able to do those things. We're going to have the same health. We're going to have the same mental capacity. We're going to have the same ability and those kinds of things. But, most people plan, in essence, for the early years of retirement, but not for the later years of retirement.
Yeah.
And I know we've had guests on our podcast before that will do coaching to help people transition from the day they retire now into this new life. And that new life, that transition might be 5 years or so. And so, but then now how do we help people when they're in the later years of retirement, maybe 80, 90 years old? And that's kind of what we want to focus on, in today's podcast and a few of these that are coming up.
Yeah.
I always think of, Tom Hegna. Tom Hegna, he wrote the book. He's been on our podcast before. He's also been at one of our client events. And he tells our clients all the time, there's 3 stages of people during their retirement years. And there's the go-go years, there's the slow-go years, and then there's the no-go years.
Yes.
And so, that's why a lot of times even we know do retirement planning, and that is people will spend more money in the early years than maybe later, or the amount of money they are spending shifts. In the first 10 to 15 years, it's all on fun and enjoyment and, traveling. But in the last 15 years, it's more about healthcare and medical care costs, those kinds of things. So it is important. We always want to tell our clients, we want to help you get to and through retirement. And if there is a downfall to retirement planning, most times it's not helping people get there to it and enjoy it and handle all the risk. But now we're talking about going all the way through it. And that's really what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. And so we even talk about it when we talk about, like, say, long-term care. And we've had several podcasts on that subject as well. And it's like, it doesn't matter how you address it, but you need to have a plan for it.
Yeah.
If
absolutely.
you don't, you don't know what you're up against.
Yeah.
And crisis always happens at the wrong time.
Yes.
It does.
It's nothing you planned for. Exactly. All right. Yep. It's going to come when you least expect it, maybe when you're least ready for it. So the idea is to be ready. It's like all the other risks. We always tell people it's a risk because we don't know if it's going to happen. And some people just say because they don't know if it's going to happen, we're not going to plan for it. Yep. Our approach is, since it's a possibility it might happen, let's plan for it. Yeah. Then if it doesn't happen, you're fine. But if it does happen, you're also fine.
Yeah. And this is a big topic. And I know that's why, like, even this summer, the summer of 2025, we're doing for our clients a summer education series. And it's on this idea of aging well and how you age. And it's impactful not just for those who are planning for retirement. But even, I know that we experience this too with aging parents. And so sometimes that can throw a kink in someone's retirement plan when they have to stop what they're doing. They're planning for retirement to take care of aging parents.
Right.
And so we have some great guests lined up here, but who do we have with us today?
Well, today, live and in the studio, Christina Wilkins. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having
I appreciate it. I met Christina a few years ago, just in the industry here, and she works with a company called Advocates for Seniors, which is a great agency. Again, I'm excited to let our clients know who she is, what their company does, who they serve, where they serve, and all these things. I think they meet a real need for the community, for people as they age. And sometimes, need more help when it comes to maybe, mentally working through things and making sure they have somebody on their side. So Christina Wilkins is the Chief Operating Officer at Advocates for Seniors. And before we get into this, Christina is going to be one of our speakers this year. Paul mentioned we have a summer education series that we do throughout, every summer. But this year we're focused on caring for seniors in transitioning. And so we've got several great guests, and some of them are going to be on our podcast here during this summer. And Christina is the first of the three. Woo. That's going to be with us on the podcast and also live and with our clients. So you want to just tell us a little bit about what is Advocates for Seniors? What do you guys do, and how's it work?
Absolutely. So we're a paralegal firm, and we focus on three main areas: legal, health, and finance. So the business was founded in 1998 by my boss, Marcia Corbett. She is a paralegal. And what was happening is what she was seeing working in law firms was folks would come in and they would either not have any kiddos or have kiddos that lived states away, and they really needed boots on the ground assistance. And so they were going into their estate planning attorneys because they've had relationships with them for 15, 20 years, as folks do. They're financial planners. And they're trusted. They're trusted individuals. And they say, I need help with this. They either have a spouse pass away, and that spouse was responsible for, let's say, all the finances. And so once that spouse passes away, they are left to hold the bag for all of the things that they've never done before. And so Marcia was being tasked with assisting them with those types of things. So she thought, hey, this is actually a business I can get behind. So in 1998, that was the idea. So it has become a full-fledged advocacy business. We focus a lot on what I would say is being professional family. So in absence of kiddos or alongside kiddos, we do healthcare advocacy. We go to doctor's appointments. We do bill pay. I say, my weeks look so different. One day I'm going to Hy-Vee buying deviled eggs for a client who loves deviled eggs. And the next day I'm doing funeral planning. So we really cover A to Z as a child would do for their parents.
Interesting. So sometimes I could see like the child hiring you guys to help their parents, either because like Paul said, the children are busy, they're living their lives, they just want their parents to make sure someone's looking out for their best interests. And I assume that you're in that role as a fiduciary, looking for things that are in their best interest. I guess analyzing potentially, things for them if they're trying to purchase something, which is the best direction to go, those kinds of things.
Yes. I attempt to coach my clients a lot is if you get approached by anyone, any service provider, anybody calling you on the phone, Medicare advisor, anyone, please say, I have a power of attorney and here's her number. Please call her and ask. Because as we know, seniors are taken advantage of every day. There's so many scams out there and everything. So we are that extra layer of protection as well too, as their power of attorney for both healthcare and finance, that we can really help manage that. Even we just had a scenario yesterday. I had a client call me and say, I called this number on the television for replacing my gutters. And I said, please tell me you did not give them any information. She said, no, but I told them to call you and they didn't. And I said, okay, well. So we found someone today to replace her gutters. So it can be just like that. We're helping them manage those everyday tasks that their kids are
make decisions to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Very interesting.
Alongside of them.
So interesting. You mentioned the power of attorney. So do you guys literally become power of attorneys? You sign documents and stuff you do early on in the process?
Yes.
And your general power of attorneys. And you can go to the bank for them.
Correct.
You can, advocate on their behalf. Are you typically dealing with people where it's like a springing where there's some sort of reason like a dementia or Alzheimer's, or they're perfectly fine, but you're able to assist them?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
It's really, they're leading the charge.
Okay.
So you mentioned the go stage.
Yes.
We want to capture them in the go stage.
Exactly.
So they can make sound decisions and know that they're naming us.
Yep.
And they know that we will stay with them for 30 years.
Okay. So they're healthy, and been, maybe it's a couple, maybe you said I could really see it from a surviving spouse who's doesn't want to make these decisions by themselves or haven't done it in the past. They can go obviously and go make these decisions on their own.
Yes.
But you're there for them to have as a backup or a primary. You're in their corner. They can always say to someone, well, I need to talk to my advocate, or I need to talk to my power of attorney about this before I make those decisions. You're there to protect them. Correct. But they could choose to use it or not.
That is correct. So a lot of times, we have two buckets of clients. We have active clients who we're working with weekly, and we have future clients as well too. So folks that have done their estate planning when they're supposed to.
Yes.
They're doing it in their 50s and 60s when they're still healthy and they can make those decisions. They're naming us now to be able to act in the future for them.
Gotcha.
So,
And then when you set it up, are you normally setting it up? Do you have 3 separate powers of attorney? Someone like for legal, for health, or for, how does that work?
We work with existing estate planning attorneys. So we are fortunate. Marcia has been in this industry doing this in the Kansas City Metro for 30 years.
Yeah.
And so she has made some really great connections.
Yeah.
And so we work with a lot of really great estate planning attorneys. I will get calls and say, hey, I need you to draft a will. I'm going to give them our resource list of the wonderful estate planning attorneys that we work with, based on location or, whomever, whatever, they want. I will give them those resources. Yeah. And so then they will work with them. We give those attorneys our language that we like to use, and then we touch base once those documents are drafted.
Okay. So they go visit the attorney, they get the documents, they come back, you review them. Do you go to the attorney's office? With them, you can.
You would go with them. Again, some attorneys like us to be there at day of signing. Yeah. Some don't want us there because it's a long day. Yes. And so sometimes we'll just make an appointment after.
Okay. Yeah. And just review it with the client, make sure it's what they wanted, that kind of stuff. Okay. Absolutely. So you'll do for legal. So if someone needs a will or a trust or something like that, you'll just help them walk through that.
Yep. So we also act as executor and trustee as well too.
Oh, okay.
So we act in that capacity, but the attorney is drafting those documents.
Okay, so advocates for seniors can be like a corporate trustee.
Correct.
Wow.
Well, we're personal trustees.
Personal trustee. Okay. So if they don't want to list the kid or don't have one, or they have 3 kids, they can list you guys to just administer the trust afterwards. Okay, that's huge. Yeah. That's a huge benefit. So then also, any professional services, I'll start with that. So tax returns, financial advisors, and even, healthcare. So let's talk about, tax and financial, same idea. Go talk to your tax person. We can go there, or you can show us afterwards before you sign tax return. The financial advisor is recommending, this product or that product or this plan. We can look at it with you. We can go to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marcia's a certified tax preparer as well.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
She does trust tax returns.
Yeah.
Income tax returns. She has a whole group of tax clients, and she's been doing this for years and years as well. Okay. So they can choose to do that. A lot of times when they come to us, they already have those built-in relationships with those people. And we're not financial planners. Yep. We're not financial advisors. Yep. We don't pretend to be them. And so we always say, if you need help, again, we have a whole bucket of resources, but we would like to at least meet with your existing folks and build that relationship. Right. We don't ask or request them to change anything. Yep. Yeah.
I could see it, being beneficial, let's say in our context, Paul, where Christina comes in, or our clients tell us, hey, I have, power of attorney here if we ever need them, or if the client comes in and makes a strange request. Okay. This happens sometimes. The client comes in and makes a strange request that we feel like is out of the norm. We could say, because you're a power of attorney and we already have the document on file, we're going to call Christina.
Yes.
I know we've had cases, I know we have examples without mentioning names, where we've had clients that we have felt like are, being taken advantage of, or they're making strange requests. And it's hard sometimes on our end because we can't theoretically stop it. We can't, we have to fulfill the wishes. It's them. They're the ones telling us. We know that it's not the right thing for them to do. But so a lot of times, we may try to find like a child to talk to about that. I don't know if that's, I guess the next best thing we can do.
Yep. And we work a lot, again, with families. We're not trying to replace their
Right.
kiddos, but
Yeah.
because of circumstances, a lot in the sandwich generation, which I personally experienced, taking care of
Right.
aging parents and having a little
Yeah.
one. And so a lot of them, and then when you're cross country,
Yeah.
then when this isn't really your expertise
Yeah.
and not knowing how to really navigate these systems, it becomes very complex to
Yeah.
do from afar.
Yep.
So yeah, working with kids and saying, hey, I have some concerns about
Right.
your brother.
Yeah.
Lives next door,
Right.
who
He
lives in
keeps
the
asking for
basement,
money
who
from
keeps asking. So
Yes.
again, own personal
Yes.
choice. We're not
Yep.
taking anybody's power away.
Right.
But we're just providing them with that resource if they need it to talk through a situation,
Yeah.
if they have one.
Absolutely. It's awesome. And so when it comes like to healthcare stuff, so I mean, literally when they're going to the doctor, are you like, helping make decisions for them, or is this more of a role of consultative? Hey, this is what they're trying to tell you, the decision you need to make, or can you literally act like sometimes power of attorney is going to act like, I'm going to make this decision on behalf of this person here.
Yeah.
Are you guys stepping into that kind of role?
You
Yeah.
get into questions of
Yes.
capacity and
Yes.
are
Right.
they capable? So
I gotcha. Yep.
that's probably a whole other podcast
Yeah,
as well too.
that's right.
And we don't determine capacity. That's
Yes.
those are physicians
Yep.
and medical. But yes, so I'm a medical social worker by education. I've been in this industry 18 years. So
Right.
senior living, hospital social work. So healthcare advocacy is really my jam. I could talk about it all day long. But we're going there as extra eyes and ears.
Yeah.
So we're going there as a support. Even for me, when I go to the doctor,
Yeah.
I forget half the stuff I'm supposed to ask my physician. I
Yes.
forget the things that she has told me
Right.
because everything is so quick these
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
even
Gotcha.
for someone who's 42.
Yeah.
So we're there to take notes, ask the questions that our clients don't think to ask, and just make sure that there's follow through, because a lot of times there's a whole list of things. You need to change this medication. You need to follow up with your pulmonologist. You need to do all this. And
Yes.
things get lost. So that's where we come in to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
So let me ask you a question. So I see a situation where somebody has you all listed as power of attorney, and it's during while they have capacity.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden there's a capacity issue. There is a maybe a cognitive issue. Then maybe like the springing, does that go to maybe one of the kids, or you guys can still be in that role after
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yep. So it just depends on how
Okay.
the documents are written.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of times the kids will say, yeah, but I still need you to be there
Okay.
in person.
Yep.
But we are doing it now together.
Right.
We're having these discussions together. And again,
Yep.
how important it is to have your estate planning documents done.
Yes.
You have your advanced directives.
Yep.
So guess what? We're going to look to see,
that is,
does mom want a feeding tube?
Yep.
Did mom want to be intubated?
Right.
If mom said absolutely not to any of that,
Yeah.
then that's why you do those
Right,
documents
exactly.
ahead of time
Yeah.
before you lose capacity.
Definitely.
So we're following those documents.
Yeah, exactly. Because I could see a case where someone might say, "Hey, me and mom and dad, we've hired this firm for you guys. Christina, her team, they're going to help you do all these things." But if they become incapacitated, that might be where, as a son, might say, "Okay, now I'll take over as power of attorney. I'll make the decision on unless they have these directives as far as what type of care they're going to need and that kind of stuff, specifically those kinds of things, or choosing investments and those kinds of things after there's a capacity issue."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you guys will do it either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We work jointly with kiddos. And so
Yeah.
when they're doing their estate planning documents,
Yeah.
if they want their son listed as primary and us as backup, we're again, it's whatever they want.
Right. Exactly. It's cool.
And it has to do with expertise too, because I know that, even people like us that are in the industry, there are things that we don't even know.
Right.
Until you come up against it.
Right.
You don't realize what you don't know.
Right. Yes.
And sometimes, so I can see that being a great advantage, especially for kids, to be able to work alongside.
Yeah. That's right.
Because you have an expertise in this area that they've never dealt with before.
Yeah. Right. And I think it's important. You know what I mean? Seniors, are being taken advantage of. They always have been. Like you said, that they watch the ad on TV or some pops on their computer and says your computer is broken and they call this number and we need your credit card to fix your computer that they messed up. All these things. I'm sure you've heard them all. So you just a protection for seniors to say, hey, if anything comes up, if anyone tries to sell you something, call us first. I mean, I can imagine the protection that would be, because they're going after them all kinds of ways, by email, by phone, by text, and making these decisions. So there's obviously professional services. Hey, we're going to be an advocate for you, and we're going to help you with your legal documents, your tax returns. But then there's non-professional. like you mentioned, helping them go shopping, what they need. So what are some of the non-professional things? Are you doing yard work? I mean, are you hiring? Seriously, are you hiring? Yeah, exactly. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So again, we have like this toolbox of wonderful providers that have been vetted. We know they're insured, and just really making sure that they have all.
They're not going to take advantage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so let us help you hire those contractors and do all of that stuff. And like I said, going to Hy-Vee, doing visits and making sure that, the quality of life is so important.
Yeah.
If you're in a nursing home and the nursing home can't make good deviled eggs, then guess what? As now your family member, I'm not going to make the deviled eggs myself.
Okay. Well,
I could try,
I'm interested.
but I don't think anybody wants that. So
okay.
I'm going to go to Hy-Vee because they make them fresh every day in case
I'm going to take note of that. It's interesting that you mentioned deviled eggs. That's going to get me off on a different. Seriously, I do love deviled eggs. My mom made them for a long time. We never get them. There's one restaurant in town, Paul. If we ever go there, it's the only place they always have deviled eggs. It's not easy to find at a restaurant anymore. So I always get them there. So thanks for bringing it up. I bet I might have to check out Hy-Vee. It's good.
And they're good. Yeah. So we do literally A to Z.
Yeah.
So
A to Z. So they engage your firm, and then they're gonna call you and say, literally, okay, let me ask you this. So I need to go to the doctor. Are you arranging transportation services for them, or is Advocates for Seniors driving them around?
We can do it as long as there's no safety risks. Of course, we don't want to put ourselves or our clients at risk. And so if, there is a chance that they're a fall risk or they're a 2-person transfer, again, we've been doing this a really long time. So we all know how to do car transfers.
Yes.
We've learned from the best. So we will do it. Otherwise, we have, again, amazing resources
List
to
of
be able
services.
to schedule that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's called Advocates for Seniors. What is a senior? So who do you actually help? Is there a certain limit or age or whatever? Who do you guys start helping?
Actually, we have clients as young as 23. So the name may be deceiving, but we do have younger folks. We work a lot with special needs trusts as well too. So we work with kiddos of seniors. And so really,
there's no age.
There's no age.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So it's good to know.
Primary clientele are seniors.
Okay.
Yes. So really, we don't
But you're advocates.
Age. We're advocates.
Advocates. If someone needs somebody on their side to help them do these things, and literally on call. In essence,
we're on call 24/7. I carry the business phone most of the time.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And of course we have other amazing social workers and other people there's 6 of us total.
Yes.
So we're small but mighty. And so we all capture it. We all take our turn.
Amazing.
But I carry the business phone.
If there's an issue.
Of the time. So 2 a.m, my work phone is ringing.
Okay.
One of 2 things have happened. Someone is seriously hurt most of the time, or somebody has passed away. And so I am communicating with funeral homes and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
And family. Yeah.
Interesting. And so right now, is it mostly, obviously we're in the Kansas City market. Some people watch, some people listen from outside the Kansas City, but right now Advocates for Seniors is a Kansas City based company. I don't know how many states you guys operate in. Is it just Kansas and Missouri right now? Or
no, actually. Okay. So we do have clients in Nebraska, Nebraska. So I actually moved here from Omaha, Nebraska. And I had just wonderful people that I worked with in the senior industry. And so thought, hey, I really know that this community can use our services. And so started marketing and connected with a wonderful estate planning attorney. And so we have a couple of clients now in Omaha. We've served Savannah, Georgia. We've had clients in Wichita. And so we are growing. Right. Our services are needed throughout the entire United States.
Right.
We're growing slow.
Exactly.
But we're willing to service wherever we need to. And there's ways that you can now with technology, especially from a fiduciary standpoint, you can advocate from a distance.
Right.
Healthcare,
on a Zoom.
It gets tricky, but I'll tell you, as a social worker, you know where to find the resources. And you know the people that can connect you. And then with private duty home care companies, you can accomplish a lot. So we're growing. It's exciting. It's a really exciting time for our organization because people are are catching on, and they realize
absolutely,
how
I can
advantage
see
it is
that
to have
too.
somebody.
Right. And people are living longer. So I can
Yes.
imagine like even having a referral source to find out, who should I have, take care of my yard or take out the trash or take care of my pet or whatever. We're doing these things. So you guys have all the connections in the industry to refer people out to.
Yeah. And pet trusts are a really cool thing nowadays that are happening because people are setting up pet trusts.
Yes.
And so we always joke, we'll take care of your pets as well too. I do the dogs, Marsha does the cats. It's a perfect. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm more of a dog person.
Yeah. And so do you see your market growing as people retire and move?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. The silver tsunami that is coming
Mm-hmm.
and everything that, it is, people say, well, what happens in 15 years if I go to Florida?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll follow you to Florida.
And so is there some limitation on that? Obviously, you
Yes.
can't bring deviled eggs from Hyde Beach,
Right.
Florida.
You never know.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably not going to be effective. But yes, in a technologically connected world,
Yes.
the way things are, especially, that's one of the things that COVID did show is that we can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that so someone living outside of the Kansas City area doesn't have to be afraid to reach out and say, hey, can you help us? And so obviously we'll put a link to your website in our show notes so people can click on that link and be able to get in touch with you that way too. Right. But that's good to know.
And the emergency phone number, who knows what he calls you? Hey, I need help. I need this, that, the other. So
and it's me.
Right,
so
exactly.
That's the wonderful thing is you get a live person.
You know who you're talking to. It's not a call center.
That is correct.
Exactly.
So and everybody in the organization, we know what all of our clients are doing, and so anybody that you get on call is going to know. So and most.
So like a typical day. I know you're not doing podcasts every day. So what is a typical day for Christina Wilkins Advocates for Seniors? What do you?
There isn't one.
Is it a mall? Yeah. So like.
Yeah, so
you could be
start in the morning, pay some bills.
Okay.
Make sure that my desk is clear, bills are paid,
and bills are paid for clients.
Yeah,
the clients are giving you their bills, and you're paying them. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
And so making sure that
interesting
bills are paid.
Yep.
Yep. I do a lot of still client work, so going to doctor's appointments, care coordination.
Okay.
Popping in this morning, I went straight, dropped my daughter off at preschool, and went and checked on a client and cooked him up some eggs and toast. We're kind of in a gap situation where he's getting ready to transition to assisted living, but not quite yet.
Wow.
So made him some
this is
cheesy eggs and
unbelievable.
some toast, and
that is amazing.
Popped in quick and
Okay, so we know what being an advocate is. We know the definition of a senior now in this context. Anybody that needs an advocate, anybody needs help. So then someone engages. Obviously, the first thing we do is sign the power of attorney. So then how does someone pay? Is this a subscription type of thing? Is this an hourly thing? How do people pay for the services?
So there's an onboarding fee initially.
Okay.
So once you sign your documents with your estate planning attorney, you're paying them for those documents. We have an onboarding fee. We get all the information that we need to be able to move forward. And then really it is an hourly fee. So hours worked is hours billed. So if someone doesn't need us, they're 60 and they're healthy.
Yep.
They may only see that annual review fee for 10 years.
Okay. I gotcha.
And so there's no monthly subscription. So you're not paying unless we're doing work with you.
And it's just the hours that we're spending reviewing the documents or taking you to the store or making you eggs and toast. Okay.
15 minutes. We bill for 15 minutes.
Every 15 minutes. Okay.
It's 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So there's no minimum.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very good. I guess what's different about Advocates for Seniors, maybe than let's say some of these other companies that are helping seniors, what would be the difference? Is it more of you guys are actually doing some of the legal help? They don't do that kind of stuff. They're more the non-professional services, but you guys are doing both.
Yes.
Is that a good way to put it?
Yep.
Okay.
And, if it is advantageous to hire private duty home care to do the housekeeping and things like that. We don't get too much in the weeds, but really the difference is, and there are other organizations that also do, but the legal piece is really where
you guys started.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Okay.
We're acting so we have a legal obligation to take care of those
Gotcha.
folks.
And you're right. I guess those other services they're never acting as power of attorney. They're just coming in to help them with their, lawn care, those kinds of services. So.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, this is awesome. I think it's going to be very important, as time goes on for everybody.
Yeah.
For all the clients. We always tell our clients, sometimes, like you said, you might sign the document when you're 60, you may not actually use it until you're 70, but it's important to know that it's there. You either have this issue now, or you're going to have this issue in the future, or someone who does or is going to. And that's why we love bringing these, kinds of services and companies to our clients and make them aware of this. That's why we wanted to have this podcast today, make people aware in our audience, but then also let everybody know Christina will be out there at our Summer Education Series events this year as well. And so we'll look forward to seeing you live and in person at these events.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you so much.
Yep.
And this is such a great topic too, because it doesn't matter where you're at, right? In life, it's like financial planning. People say, is it too late?
Mm.
Well, we talked earlier about crisis mode, and I'm sure you see that, when people engage you. Some people only engage you in crisis mode, but obviously this works best when you plan.
Yeah.
Just like retirement. It works best when you plan. And
Right.
so obviously we want to try and get ahead of it. And so that's why we put information out there like this and
Yep.
have you come in and be able to talk to our clients and our podcast listeners and viewers and be able to help them understand what they might need in the future
Right.
to be able to make that plan while they're cognitive, while they're thinking about it,
Yeah.
while it's not a crisis mode.
Right.
But you're there if there is crisis.
Absolutely.
And so it's nice to have a resource, someone to be able to turn to.
Someone in
say,
your corner. Yeah.
I don't know what to do at this point.
Right.
And so appreciate you being there for that and being able to handle that as well. And so,
Absolutely.
whether it's needing to plan for retirement in the future and aging well, or it's just even getting to retirement and into retirement, and you're looking at your financial plan, it generally starts with just a conversation. I'm sure it's the same for you as it is with us. We start with trying to find out what your goals are, where you're at in relation to that, and how we can best help you.
Yep.
They act as an advocate in the financial planning realm. As a fiduciary, we act as an advocate for financial matters. And so, that's why we're here. And so if you don't know what to do, or you're sitting here thinking for the first time, I need to do something, the answer is yes, you need to do something, right? I mean, don't take action, right? I mean, it's not just, we want to move it beyond knowledge,
Yes.
right?
That's right.
To taking action and doing something. And so again, the link to Advocates for Seniors is in the show notes. Click on that. Get a hold of them. They'd be able to be glad to sit down with you and walk through what does that process look like and how can they help you.
Yep.
If you're looking at retirement planning, that's where we come into play.
That's right.
Click, give us a call here at the office. That's the easiest way. 816-246-WISE, 816-246-9473. Give us a call. And it starts with a conversation, just a clarity conversation. Let's get some clarity around where you're at, where you want to go, and how we can help you get there. If you know someone who needs this information, share this with them. This is so important.
Right.
If you're in the Kansas City area and you're watching this before one of our educational events, you can always go to our website, wisewealth.com/events, wisewealth.com/events, and you'll be able to see what events we have coming up. But if you're going to be here this summer of 2025, when you're watching this, and you can come to one of these events and be able to talk to Christina in person, that would be a fantastic thing. Yep. We'd love to have you sign up and come out and be with us for that event. And so whatever it is, there's an action you can take. Yep. It could be subscribing so you get more information like this. It could be giving us a call. It could be coming to an event. Whatever it is, take action, because action is needed to be able to put a plan in place for the future. So again, thank you, Christina, for taking time. Thank you, Stephen, as always, for having wonderful guests on, be able to share this knowledge with our listening base. And again, thank you to you, our viewing and listening audience. You're the reason we do this. So we wouldn't be here without you. And, from Paul, all of us here at Wise Wealth, want to remind you that financial peace comes from having a plan. I'll see you next time.